Brian Dable doesn't want to give Daniel Jones the love that we are all giving him. Daniel Jones played like a superstar against Minnesota. It is what it is. Minnesota's defense sucks, but whatever. Daniel Jones was amazing and what he did. And all season long, we've been lauding how good Philadelphia has been, the offense in particular. The defense has been great, too. I mean, they lead the league in sacks with 70. They have 4 guys over double-digit sacks on that team, led by Hassan Reddick, who's done it on 3 different teams in 3 different years. It's amazing how good he is. But we talk about Jalen Hurts and this offense with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders, and the run game. They're one of the top rush teams in football. Well, guess what? The Giants are a better rush team than they are. And Daniel Jones, I truly believe this, Daniel Jones is better prepared for this moment, meaning the divisional round game, division rival. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. We know all these stats that we talk about in the same year. It's a hostile environment. Hell, Giants fans don't even want to trek down there. They'll go out to Minnesota. They'll go to the moon. They don't want to go to Philadelphia, which is a drive or a train ride away to go watch the Giants, who haven't been in the postseason for a decade, go down and beat the Philadelphia Eagles. They throw all these excuses out there. The Philly's too good. We can't beat them. I think Daniel Jones is in a better position to win this game than Jalen Hurts is for a lot of reasons. One, Daniel Jones is peaking right now. We've seen it the last few weeks of the regular season, and obviously he dominated against Minnesota. He's got a very strong run game. We talk about Philly being 5th. Well, guess what? The Giants are 4th. And Saquon Barkley looked really good last week. He unlimited amount of carries. Daniel Jones adds to that. He rushed for 700 yards and 7 touchdowns during the season, 70 last week. They got a defense that is opportunistic and was a pain in the ass of the Eagles at the end of the regular season. When you go look at the Eagles, they sat out last week. They had a bye. Great. They got a little bit healthy. It is what it is. Jalen Hurts has been hurt for almost a month now. A lot of people are speculating that shoulder injury is a lot more than just a little AC joint sprain. He hasn't been overly consistent the last 3 or 4 weeks. And his last time in the postseason against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a year ago, he played like crap. Terrible. 1 touchdown, 53% completion percentage, 2 interceptions. He looked overmatched for the moment. Now, maybe he'll be better this year, but I could argue, and I am arguing, Daniel Jones is better prepared for this moment than Jalen Hurts is, despite how great Jalen Hurts was all season long.
And I can argue that the Giants are about to get blown out.
They don't get blown out. They just don't.
Philly did last time, the first time.
Yeah, but that's because they made all those mistakes, right? When you make mistakes, any team's going to get blown out when you make mistakes, but particularly the Giants, because they don't play fast enough to come back from mistakes. If they give you a possession and basically give you points, the Giants that is, then they're not capable of stealing 1 or 2 possessions by playing faster and scoring real quickly. They don't do that. They play really slow. You're going to get 8 to 9 or 10 possessions between both teams throughout the entire game. And if they make mistakes and waste one of those possessions, they can't come back from it. But if they don't play that way, if they play clean and smart, I mean, they can play with anybody, at least keep it close enough so it's a 1-possession game. I'm not saying they're going to beat everybody, but they don't get blown out. They just don't. Their structure, their offensive and defensive structure it doesn't lend to getting blown out unless they make a ton of mistakes.
Listen, I think that, Jalen Hurts, I think there's a real good chance he's going to be rusty here. The guy's thrown 35 passes since the middle of December.
That's right.
In a couple of days, it's January, 21st?
Exactly.
I mean, it's been a while. There's a lot of things about this game that gives me pause to get on the air and say, Giants are going to win. And then there's a couple of things that have forced me to reevaluate that, including the Giants' history. When they kind of get to this point, they usually mess around and keep going. There's a lot to overcome here, though. I mean, this Eagles team is really good. This Vikings team was soft. This Vikings team was very vulnerable. This Eagles team is not that. And I know that you know that because you watched the film. It's at home. As much as we talk about it, listen, and every show's kind of jumped into this part of the pool. Come on, find a way to get the ticket. Secondary market. It's going to be 95% Eagle fans. It just is. That's the way it's going to be. So the Eagles are really good. The home venue is really juiced and very pro-home team. And the Giants are big dogs right now over a touchdown. And they're big dogs for a reason. I think that if you flipped Hurts and put him on the Giants, I think there's no doubt that the Eagles would blow out the Giants. Mm-hmm. Okay? But we're not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not even really – I don't even really feel a blowout. But, man, somebody's got to be the bad guy here, all right? and by bad guy, I mean the voice of honesty. And I love it. We can conjure up all this hope and all this belief. And a lot of the belief is rooted in how the Giants have evolved. I'm not trying to tear down what they built. I don't see the Giants winning this game. I don't. And I don't see us getting on the air on Monday, waxing poetic about how Daniel Jones just tacked on $20 million guaranteed to a deal. He's getting that deal no matter what.
Yes.
But I don't see how that continues to evolve and blossom into and hit another tier. I think that this weekend, all right, winds up being a little dose of reality. It's still a good season. Future's still incredibly bright. I think the Giants are in trouble.
Look, that's a prediction. That's guessing what's going to happen in the game, and anything could happen in a game. I mean, I played too many of them to know that sometimes you're better, you're significantly better, and you just lose. You go dominate for half a game, and just San Francisco, right? One of the great losses in the history of playoff football in the NFL. When we went out there, what year was that? 02, I think, 03?
Early 2000s.
Yeah, whatever it was. I understand what happens in the game, but my point is, going into this game, the reason that Giant fans should be comfortable and confident is because Daniel Jones is prepared for this moment. There's nothing that the Eagles are going to do. And by the way, they're fantastic defensively. 70 sacks they have on the season. 70.
And they got some ball hawks too.
And C.J. Gardner-Johnson is back. He missed a couple of weeks. He's leading the league, I believe. I mean, he's right there. He missed a couple of games, so maybe he's not leading the league, but he's got 6 interceptions. Right? James Bradbury, who we let go because of salary cap reasons, had a all-pro season. He was second-team all-pro, I believe. And so maybe his first team. I don't know. He was all-pro, one of those teams. So they've got first, second, third level defenders that are playing at a super high level. But to me, when I think about they're not going to get flustered just because they're playing the best defense in the league, right? They're not going to all of a sudden approach this game like, oh, we can't win. Oh, what are we going to, woe is me. That's not Dable's mentality. That's not Kafka's mentality. And it damn sure isn't Daniel Jones' mentality. So the only thing I'm saying actually is that Daniel Jones is going to prepare just like he did against the Minnesota Vikings. And that preparation puts him in an advantageous position if you're going quarterback to quarterback. If the quarterback's going to win the game, Daniel Jones, I'm taking Daniel Jones over Jalen Hurts right now.
All right. He's going with his guy. I got you. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney here on The Fan. We've got Carl Banks a little later. We've got Julian Love tomorrow. There's a chance we get Mr. Hodgins on the show later this week as well. But those first two things are obviously locked in as we're inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you that you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. I mean, listen, I could drink the Kool-Aid. I can be that guy. And trust me, I'm along for the ride.
You have to be.
I want the Giants to win. There's nothing that I like about Philadelphia. Nothing.
Yeah, but I think half of this is like.
But I don't say it.
Half of this is conjuring in your mind as Giant fans, not even just New York fans. I mean, I was talking to LPG, license plate guy. We had him on yesterday. He called in to talk about going down to the Eagles game and how bad it is at Eagles Stadium. Basically, the Cliff Notes, if you get tickets closer to the front, you'll be all right because there's more security.
Yeah.
If you're up in the rafters, dude, make sure you have a switchblade.
Well, I mean, it's like anything. I mean, if you walk down Madison Avenue, you're probably safe. If you walk down the alley, you're taking a different chance. There's a different clientele waiting for you in the alley.
No doubt about it.
That's always the case.
No doubt about it.
877-337-6666.
But the thing that he said,
yes.
And it's the difference between Philly and New York. In New York, not unfortunate, it just is what it is. There's two teams. And so, like, the energy doesn't just go to the Giants. Like, Jet fans aren't suspending their fandom. Hell, you won't even put a jersey on.
We'll get to that later. You guys absolutely made my day miserable. Yeah, right. I mean, the texts and the tweets, I can't get away from the stupidity.
But you know my point.
The Giants
Jet
jersey.
Fans aren't lending their fandom to the New York York/New Jersey team.
Some are actually going against it, which I find ridiculous.
I agree.
If you're a Jets fan and you are actively going against the Giants, that means you are actively going for Philly, which makes no sense.
I agree. So, but in Philly, it's one thing. It's Eagles.
Yeah.
All day. Every day, even in baseball season.
Hey, by the way, even Jet fans can conjure up hate. I don't think we've ever beat. I think we're 0-13 all time against the Eagles. Would you double check that?
The Jets are 0-13.
I know we've never beaten them.
Oh, dude,
ever.
Even more reason.
Ever.
Let's
go, Giants. Let's go, Giants.
There you go, BT. The jersey is next.
By the way, you're not going to like it. I have an out. If I do put the jersey on, I have an out. Where I would put the jersey on, okay? I would honor my word because my big fat mouth put me in a position that I don't think I could weasel out of. But there's a way that it can never be held against me.
Love it.
I'll tell you later. I don't need to get into it now.
0-12, by the way.
0-12. When's the next time we play? And then it'll be 0-13. All right, let's get to you guys here. Let's get Sonny out in Malvern. He's out on the island. What's up, Sonny?
Tiki and Tierney.
What's up, Sonny?
How you guys doing?
Sonny.
Good. Really quick about the game last week. I couldn't get through to you on Monday. I was pretty close with the score, and all Daniel Jones. You guys seen that movie Jerry Maguire, right?
Yeah, of course.
What's the famous scene, Tiki?
Show me the money.
By the way, Kelly Preston, rest in peace, Kelly.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
You got it right, and that's what Daniel Jones.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, he just tacked on a few extra million.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think the Giants have the momentum here, guys. Obviously, I think the Phillies. If you've been following since the first game against the Giants, which was 30-something days ago, that was the last really good game.
Yeah, you're right. From an Eagle standpoint, you're
From an Eagle
absolutely
standpoint, right. I know the Giants gave up 240-something rushing yards that game, but the Giants are a totally different team than that game. And you're right, Tiki. I think Dable and Jones are better prepared for this game. I think they have a really good chance. I think you don't have to worry about the fans because in Minnesota, it's just typical science. The noise is louder in a dome, so I don't think it's going to be louder in Philadelphia. I think they're going to be a little bit crazier, but I don't think it's going to be louder.
It'll be hard for the fans, but not necessarily harder for the players.
Right, and hopefully the Giants come down the turnpike and show their support, which they have always done. So they have a really, really good shot, guys. They just got to play really good football. No mistakes. Daniel Jones got to continue doing what he's done, and I think they have a really good shot. Go Giants.
Yeah, man. They just got to not turn the football over. And again, they didn't have a ton of turnovers the first time that they played in that game that was a blowout, 48-22. They did have one, and then they had the punt, which immediately turned into points for the Eagles. So as long as the fields aren't short, as long as they make them earn it, I think the Giants, they're in position to, I don't want to say, a colossal upset, but I just look at Daniel Jones and the way that he's playing right now. I feel like I could trust my quarterback on what is now his biggest stage of his career. Mm-hmm. He had his first test last weekend, which was his first playoff game. He passed it with flying colors, and now he's got the second one. And the intensity, because of the rivalry, because of the close proximity of the two fan bases, I mean, this is real. But I see his slowed down mind. It's not affecting him, man. It's just he's just going to go play his game. Now Jalen Hurts is the same way.
Yeah, I mean, let's not
Jalen Hurts
gloss over him.
Hasn't played high level football, as you mentioned, BT, in mostly a month.
35 passes he's thrown in the past month or so. Yep. By the way, we keep referencing how hard is it to beat a team 3 times in a season? Well, I got an actual stat for you, all right? So since the AFL-NFL merger in 70, there's been 23 occasions where teams met for the third time after one of the teams won the first 2 matchups. Now, it's 14-9, but a more recent snapshot, it's 4-4. Mm-hmm. So, in essence, 3-game sweeps most recently are as likely to occur as not.
They're crapshoots.
Got to flip a coin.
They're crapshoots. It's just like it means the game's going to be closer, maybe. Right? So
familiarity leads to that as well, too.
There's no greater picture than the Miami Dolphins somehow hanging with the Buffalo Bills.
True.
They didn't play a great game, the Miami Dolphins, but because of familiarity, the Bills made some mistakes. Josh Allen had a couple turnovers. The game was close. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the Bills won all 3 of those. No, Bills lost the first matchup.
They lost the first one.
That's not even an example, but it is an example of why teams in the same division rarely get, the third one's a blowout.
Yeah, unless it's just an outlier or something wacky, injuries. Yeah, that September game, Miami won. They won 21-19. I referenced this the other day. And then obviously in December, it was 32-29 Bills. and the other day it was 34-31. I've got a question for you that I don't think you're going to like, all right? When we talk about this stuff, it's obviously a lot of it's rooted in fandom. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan as well. But a lot of it is, practical analysis, blah, blah, blah. How much, I have my answer, but how much of the pro-Giant conviction, okay, is rooted in Giant history, which actually has nothing to do with Sunday? And you know what I mean? Like, I'm hearing a lot of people, and I've said it before. Well, they've done this, they mess around. But if the Giants didn't have that history, by the way, Justin Tuck's not playing, Strahan's not playing, Eli's not playing.
There.
These cats ain't playing.
Yeah, Brandon Jacobs.
None of those guys. Ward's not playing. Nobody's playing. Yet none of them playing.
Yeah, it's not Sean O'Hara and Chris Snee and David Deal.
Nope,
those guys.
not playing. Coughlin's not coaching.
Yeah, I mean, it has, you're right, it's zero to do with Saturday afternoon.
But I feel like that's the fuel, which I get, behind a lot of we're going to take them down.
Yeah.
It's not as rooted in actual football stuff.
No, it has nothing
specific to this year.
The only thing I can point to is that the only similarity is that in those 7 and 11 years in particular, that's what we're alluding to, the Giants were healthy and they had their best players playing at a high level, right? The same is happening. Right? Andrew Thomas is elite. John Feliciano had an unbelievable pull and block on Saquon's touchdown on that reverse toss out the backside. Glowinski's been okay. Evan Neal, who's going to have his hands full because Hassan Reddick is the left defensive end.
Yeah, I'd be worried about that matchup.
On the right side. I'm very worried about
very
Evan
worried
Neal.
about that.
He only gave up one earlier this year, but still. Isaiah Hodgins has turned into like this high-level player. Bellinger has been fantastic. Saquon's been – so the only reason I would draw on that comparison is that the Giants are healthy and playing at the best level right now, just like those 11 and 7 teams were that went all the way.